Hello again. Welcome to Local Links Hub podcast, a show with local impact for global change. For those who don't know, Local Link Hub is the localization and partnership initiative for Terre, hommes. We are a global online platform and we provide free e-learning and capacity development resources for local and national NGOs. Our project is funded by the Somaha Foundation. My name is INDIKIT. I'm the Communications and Content Manager for Local Link Hub. Thank you for listening to today's episode, Indicators Made Easy. Meet INDIKIT. Let's get started. On today's Local Link Hub podcast, I'm joined by Sophie Mareschal, Quality and Accountability Global Advisor at Terre, hommes. She has over 15 years of experience helping international organizations improve their programs through monitoring and evaluation. She works to develop tools and trainings to measure program success and ensure quality. In the past, she gained experience at UNICEF, UN Women, and Oxfam in countries like Peru and Palestine, focusing on child protection, gender equality, and justice programs. Today in our episode, we will talk about INDIKIT. This is a new tool which will help our local partners and the staff of Terre, hommes alike with various program indicators. Our guest Sophie explains what INDIKIT is, why it was created, and how it can help us do a better work together. Hello, Sophie, and welcome to our podcast.
Hello, Inika. Thank you for inviting me.
So today we are going to talk about INDIKIT. This is a tool on which you worked really hard lately. So let's cover the first basic question. What is the INDIKIT personalized for Terre, hommes?
Yeah, actually, INDIKIT is not new. It's an online library of indicators that was created years ago by a Czech Republic organization that is called People in Need. And they, at the time, compiled indicators that are more commonly used in the humanitarian and development sector. And they create this webpage with guidance for every indicator that introduces how to measure them, actually. And those indicators, they are signs of results or outcomes. Sometimes it's called impact of the work we do on the ground. So I had used it in the past, and I thought it would be great to have a similar webpage to present TDH strategic indicators or indicator for our new strategic plan for 2025-28. And I was by chance contacted last year by People in Need, and they told me that actually you can develop your customized INDIKIT webpage. So I found it's a great idea, and here in TDH, everyone was very enthusiastic with the idea of having an INDIKIT for TDH, because at the moment we have all our guidance on SharePoint, and it's not accessible to all. It's not easy to navigate in the indicator framework and to choose the indicators and to read the guidance. So that was a good solution, actually. So we started working on it, and we now have this library accessible to all. And the library compiles 65 key program indicators that are prioritized in our strategic plan. And so with those indicators, we are able now to measure and analyze what are the key services that we deliver together with partners on the ground, and also what are the results of those services. So a key service will be, for example, the number of water points that are rehabilitated, or the number of children that are accessing case management services, while an outcome will be, for example, a change in behavior or a change in policy. So we are measuring different things, and all of this is like clearly now accessible in INDIKIT.
This really sounds that you had a lot of work to do lately to make this library of indicators possible. Can you talk a bit more about this extensive work behind this library of indicators?
Yes, and actually developing the webpage was quite smooth and straightforward. The big work was actually to phrase and prioritize the indicators and then to develop all the necessary guidance on how we should measure them. We coordinate the work with the quality and accountability sector in TDH, but the big job was done by the program and expertise colleagues. And actually, we started with the revision of the theory of change. So the programmatic theory of change is actually the starting point to decide what we want to measure and why we want to measure this. Second, we had to review our old indicator framework of last strategic plan, go through some lessons learned exercises, what kind of problems we faced with some indicators, which ones were used or not used and why they were not used, which one were too difficult to measure. So big learning work to be done. Then we looked at, again, at standard indicators practiced in the sectors by different donors because we have to work coherently with all the other stakeholders and global plans, actually, global strategies. We looked also at the child protection minimum standards indicators and all like sector specific standards. Then we phrased the 5 big outcomes of our new international program, 25-28, and prioritize the indicators. But the longer work, the bigger work was to actually develop the measurement guidance. And that's why you find in INDIKIT what the indicator means. So you have to define every term you use, why they're important, what are their limitations, what they do measure, what they don't measure, how do you calculate them, how do you disaggregate them, what data collection tools you can use. For example, we inserted like extracts of survey, questionnaires or example of questions. And then there are also sections that indicate how you analyze the data and then what are eventually some risks or biases you may face while measuring the indicators. So it's quite technical and it took a lot of time for 65 indicators. I would say that it took us like 4 or 5 months to finalize this guidance.
Oh my, it's a lot of work. So the INDIKIT is for TDH staff and TDH partners alike. Why do you consider important tool this INDIKIT?
I think it's important because if this indicator framework is consistently used across TDH and partner interventions, it allows us to show our collective impact consistently, how we work together and what we reach together. So it gives a big picture, actually. And it's a tool to help us implementing together the result-based management approach and to contribute to be accountable and report transparently about what we all together we do. And we at TDH, we will be also better placed to report on what partners do, and give them the credit, not like say it's TDH who did everything. So it's very good if we can reflect on who has reached what and then globally analyze the outcomes. Another important point is that using INDIKIT enables project managers to learn on monitoring and evaluation techniques, on data collection and analysis. So it may contribute to improve and standardize professional practice, not only M&E, but also programmatic wise. And as INDIKIT enables everyone to provide feedback, share tools, everyone can learn from each other, and we can learn as an organization, as organizations, with our partners from the practice on the ground. And so it should not be a top-down initiative. It's really like a cross-fertilization and cross-learning, which is great, actually, because it can also shape partnership dynamics. And then if we use robust methods to measure what we do and what is our impact, if we share together our learning, we also expect that this can contribute to improve the way we steer our projects and in consequence, increase the quality of our work. So of course, it's a contribution. There are many other factors that will help us increasing the quality of our work, but this is really one piece of the puzzle, and it's for everyone together, TDH teams and partners.
You mentioned that the toolkit was developed by consulting not just TDH's indicators, but other organizations' indicators. So how much is this toolkit a TDH toolkit, and how much is a more general, let's say, usable for more organizations toolkit? What would you say?
Yeah, for some sectors, like I would say health and wash, and many tools, indicators are more standardized. So usually you look at what WHO has developed as indicators, that there are WASH consortia also. So we really got our inspiration from what exists already, because we have also to align with global guidelines. So when we could, as I said, we took references the sector-specific standards, which is useful because when you design a project, usually donors, they have also their set of indicators that would like you to use them. So sometimes the teams they have to jungle, and they are in the middle of certain tensions. They have to answer to different requests, and sometimes are not aligned. So we tried actually to do our best to align the choice of indicators with what is practiced in the sector. Of course, there are some indicators that have been phrased really by TDH teams, and that are maybe you will not find them in sector guidance or in donors requirements, so they're a bit specific. But I think they can be inspiring. For example, we have developed good guidance on how to measure changes in terms of mental health and psychosocial support, and how to measure subjective well-being. So we did a long work to raise that and to explain that. So I think it can be inspiring for other organizations too. But we did our best to align with what exists already. And of course, certain sectors are much more standardized than others, so it will vary.
Yes, thank you. I was wondering if you have this kind of library of indicators, does not this mean that probably all project proposals will be the same after a while, or?
Yeah, I see your point, and I think that every project that seeks to offer some kind of standardization may pose a risk of too much uniformization. And we don't want that, because we do work across contexts that are very different, where cultures, social norms, needs, and capacities are different. We work with a range of different stakeholders too. And most importantly, all projects should be shaped in a participatory manner, consulting communities and children. So it means that the project will be different, and the logic of intervention will differ also. So it's a matter of finding the best balance, using INDIKIT as one resource among others to help shape the project and monitor the impact. Of course, it's mandatory for TDH teams to know and use the indicator framework, but it doesn't mean that we are going to say, okay, you have to include a minimum of 15 or 20 indicators. No. We will guide the teams to pick and choose, to look at the framework and pick and choose the indicators that match their project, that are relevant for their project, to what they do and the changes they work for. So it's a guidance, and the guidance offers also tips to contextualize data collection tools, for example. It's not that we are imposing survey questionnaires that everyone should be using in the same way, of course. So we are there also to accompany the team to contextualize. Even the indicator phrasing might differ a little bit, and the type of question you will ask to the people to collect the data you need to measure the indicator. So this contextualization is very important. And besides INDIKIT, there is also a manual that we developed to explain how to use this framework, what is the objective, and offer methodological consideration for using it, including on contextualization, and this good balance to be reached that I was mentioning earlier.
Let's say that a local NGO or a TDH office would like to submit a grant proposal for a project that, let's say, could give access to healthcare services to mothers and newborn babies. How would you start searching for the indicators on INDIKIT?
Mm-hmm. So the web page is structured by topics, actually. The indicators are classified under 16 themes that belong to the 5 big outcomes of our international program, that are health, migration, justice, and 2 transversal expertise, resilience and empowerment, and then basic services and dignified living conditions. So when you reach the web page, you will see 16 sub-themes or themes that belong to those 5 outcomes, with icons that make a bit easier to navigate. So here, in the example that you mentioned, it's a health project, perinatal health project. And we have typically a theme that corresponds with that. So I would start maybe like exploring what is under this theme. And it's likely that in my project I will have also eventually like nutrition and child health components. So there is another theme. So I would start like looking at the icons and then searching in the themes what is in there as indicators. If your project has a component of cash for health, it might be the case in this type of project. Well, there's an icon on cash and livelihood. So I would, but maybe the first advice I would give would be for someone who is interested in indicators and would like to use INDIKIT for the project, is to click on the 16 themes and explore what is in there. So to get like a first understanding of what is in this global framework, and then like go more in depth in the topic that the person is interested in, and then clicking on the indicators and reading the guidance. It might take a bit of time to know it in all details, but like starting exploring with the icons might be a good way.
Yeah, and we need to say that the website is available at tdh.indikit.net. So exactly. It's available for everyone. So just go there, click on it, click on the icons as Sophie mentioned, and start using it. I'm thinking that INDIKIT is not a tool that it's not going to change. So probably in the future we could see more changes or things happening around these indicators. What are your plans for the future?
Well, first, INDIKIT is a living web page because in every indicator page, you have a feedback section where people can either share a tool or suggest a modification or add details. So it's going to be a continuous improvement based on the feedback of the users. So any idea will be welcome also on how we could like use or reshape INDIKIT in the future. We may add more indicators that would not be part of our strategic plan yet, but the indicators that we find important from a guidance perspective. For example, we don't have an indicator on discipline or corporal punishment as a form of discipline, and it's an indicator that is often used in projects that aim at tackling violence against children. So we might say, okay, this indicator, we find it's important, and we could create a page for this indicator and say, okay, it's not part of TDH strategic plan, but we find it interesting to use it, for example. So adding more indicators. And then also we are thinking in adding another section with what we call quality indicators, that are indicators that express or say something about how we work. For example, the number of projects that includes an innovation component, or the number of impact evaluations, or number of projects that are gender responsive based on the utilization of the gender marker. So these type of indicators that are a bit different in nature, and we could create another section for those indicators, but we are not there yet. We first would like everyone to start using the indicators as it is, and also give us their feedback for us to get inspiration on how to improve it.
Super. So for those who are listening to this podcast, please do go to the website and start using the indicators, and also please give us your feedback. Thank you, Sophie, for your thoughts on INDIKIT, and hope we will talk soon later about the development of INDIKIT.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm Annie Vash, and you've been listening to Local Link Hub podcast. We had help from Judit Németh-Almási. Thanks to all of you for listening, and thank you, Sophie Mareschal from Terre des Hommes, for joining me today on this Local Link Hub podcast. The INDIKIT library of indicators mentioned in the podcast is available at tdh.indikit.net. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to learn more about Terre des Hommes initiative, please visit our website locallink.childhub.org. Also, if you have any comments on the episode or want to share your thoughts, Contact us via social media on Facebook or LinkedIn, or email us on locallink@childhub.org. Thanks for joining. See you on our next episode.